The Pinecrest HOA in suburban Chicago looked like paradise on a postcard. Manicured lawns, white picket fences, and that shiny clubhouse with the American flag flapping like it owned the place. But everyone who lived there knew the truth. It was a dictatorship run by Karen Thompson, president of the board for 8 straight years. Karen had turned the covenants into her personal Bible. Section 4.2. All visible vehicles must uphold community prestige. No commercial trucks overnight. Section 7.1. Lawn height must be precisely 2.5 inches or face immediate fine. She patrolled in her white Mercedes, clipboard in hand, ready to ruin your weekend over a mailbox flag or a slightly faded welcome mat. And for the last 3 years, her favorite target had been Frank McKenna, the electrician 2 streets over in his modest ranch house. Frank drove the same 2019 Ford F-150 he'd used to build McKenna Electrical from scratch. He parked it in his driveway like a normal human. Karen hit him with $250 fines every single time. It detracts from property values, she'd say in that syrupy voice at every board meeting, smiling like she was doing the neighborhood a favor. Frank paid every fine without a word. He never showed up to meetings, never posted in the Facebook group, never once complained. Why? Because his son Kyle was engaged to Karen's daughter Jessica, the Northwestern law golden girl who was about to start at a big firm. Frank figured peace was worth the cost. He even quietly covered half the wedding expenses, $15,000 for the clubhouse rental alone, another $10,000 catering, flowers, photographer. Jessica wanted the elegant community vibe. What Jessica wanted, Jessica got. September 15th, 2024. The reception night. 150 anyway. Parked it way at the back of the lot between 2 Teslas. He walked into the marble-floored clubhouse wearing his $300 Men's Warehouse suit, the same one from Kyle's college graduation. The place sparkled, string lights, open bar, perfect centerpieces. Jessica's side clustered near the dance floor. Lawyers, doctors, investment bankers, all sipping cocktails and networking like it was a career fair. Karen Thompson floated around in her designer gown, playing gracious hostess, quoting bylaws every time someone stepped on the wrong tile. Frank's side? His brother Mike still in paint-splattered coveralls, neighbor Tony from the auto shop, a handful of teachers and city workers. 2 worlds, 1 forced HOA-approved party. The ceremony earlier at the little church had been fine. Frank walked Kyle down the aisle. Kyle's mom had passed years ago, so it was just him. Jessica looked stunning in the Vera Wang. For 30 minutes Frank actually thought maybe the snobbery would stay buried. Then cocktail hour hit. Karen glided over with that polite smile wealthy people wear right before they knife you. Frank, darling, could we have a quick word? She steered him toward the coat check corner. Her husband, Dr. Brother David joined like it was a planned ambush. Frank, Karen began, voice dripping honey. This evening is going to get quite formal. Toasts from Jessica's colleagues, networking, you know how these professional circles work. We thought you might prefer to slip out after dinner. Avoid any awkwardness. Frank sipped his beer. I'm good. Son's reception. The 3 of them exchanged the exact same look rich people give when the help talks back. David cleared his throat. What mom means is the later portion is really for our peers. Some of Jessica's law school friends can be intense. Conversations about mergers. Supreme Court cases might feel a bit dry for someone in your line of work. Frank felt the cold settle in his chest. My line of work? Karen patted his arm like he was a confused puppy. There's nothing wrong with honest trades, Frank. But tonight is about Kyle and Jessica's future.
Their image. The HOA has standards for events here. Section 9.3 clearly states guests must maintain an appearance befitting Pinecrest prestige. Frank nodded slowly.
So you're telling me to leave my son's wedding because my truck and my suit don't match your bylaws? Karen's smile never wavered. We're simply suggesting you might be more comfortable at home. He stayed. Throughout dinner, he caught Karen whispering to guests, pointing at him the way you point at dog poop on the sidewalk. Jessica kept glancing over, jaw tight, like he was a stain on her perfect night. During the salad course, he overheard her at the next table. That's Kyle's father. Blue-collar background. Kyle's really outgrown that environment, thank goodness. The main course brought Judge Martinez over. Frank, right? Jessica speaks highly of you. The tone said otherwise. After dinner, the dancing started. Frank sat alone nursing his beer while Kyle spun Jessica across the floor. At 9 p.m., to his table, flushed and furious. Frank, we need to talk. Dragged him to the terrace overlooking the golf course the HOA maintained with everyone's fees. Crickets chirped. The air was cool. Tony, you've had dinner. To go. The rest of the night is for our peers, our professional colleagues. Frank looked through the glass doors at his son laughing. I want to watch my son enjoy his wedding. Jessica's voice sharpened. And I want my wedding to go smoothly without complications. Kyle's moving into my world now. You don't fit the HOA aesthetic. You don't fit us. She turned and stormed back inside. 10 minutes later, she returned with Kyle. Dad, Kyle said uncomfortably. Jessica thinks maybe you should head out early. Jessica snapped loud enough for the entire terrace to hear. Get out of here. Get out of here. Conversations died. Karen appeared looking mortified but not stopping her daughter. Jessica kept going, voice rising for the audience. Look at him, that suit costs less than my shoes. He drives a pickup truck to an HOA event. He doesn't understand the conversations in there. There's nothing wrong with manual labor, but let's be honest. It's not our level. Kyle and I are professionals now. We have reputations to protect. You're a liability, Frank. The terrace went graveyard quiet. Frank just stood there, hands in pockets, calm as ever. You're absolutely right, Jessica. I'm just a simple electrician. Nothing intellectual about it. He pulled out his phone. And you're right that Kyle deserves educated people around him. Jessica relaxed, thinking she'd won. Frank hit dial. Understands so clearly that it's time for some practical adjustments. The phone rang twice. Richard? It's Frank. Phones. I need to invoke the acceleration clause. All of them, Kyle's account and Jessica's account. Immediate full payment. Jessica's face drained of color. What loans? Frank held up a finger. Combined principal and accrued interest. Approximately $425,000. Due in full within 30 days per the clause in both promissory notes. The silence on the terrace was so thick you could hear the HOA fines being calculated in everyone's heads. Karen's mouth opened and closed like a fish. Frank, you can't. This is a family event. Frank smiled that quiet smile. You were very clear. I'm a liability. So now you can handle your own finances. All $425,000 worth. He started walking toward the parking lot while the entire reception stared. Behind him he heard Jessica whispering, That's impossible, my parents covered. But Frank kept walking, phone already showing the banking app with 37 months of perfect transfers. $3, $400 for Kyle, $4,200 for Jessica. Every single one from his account. The next morning, the Pinecrest HOA Facebook group exploded. Someone had recorded the terrace meltdown. Caption: Entitled HOA President's Daughter Tells Blue-Collar Dad to Get Out After He Secretly Paid Her Law School. 300,000 views by noon. Karen posted her counterspin at 6:47 a.m. After reflection, my father-in-law's claims are misleading. These were never requested loans. This feels like financial manipulation and I won't be intimidated. She tagged half the board. Big mistake. Commented first. I was there. Miss Thompson's description doesn't match what I witnessed. She publicly called him uneducated and told him he didn't belong at an HOA event he helped fund. Zero-interest loans for 3 years aren't manipulation. They're generosity. Dr. Peterson piled on. Northwestern law at $82,000 a year, federal aid only covering a fraction, the rest magically paid by the guy she just humiliated. By 2 p.m. HOA wedding drama turns into student debt dispute. Karen's attempt to control the narrative blew up in her face exactly like one of her own absurd fines. Monday morning, Frank's phone wouldn't stop buzzing. The HOA board was calling an emergency meeting. Karen wanted him fined for disrupting community harmony under some obscure bylaw. Frank showed up with the banker's box, every receipt, every promissory note, every canceled check spread across the community center table like a trial exhibit. The board stared. Meeting to order. Quoting section 12.4 about public disturbances. Frank just slid the documents forward. Section 12.4 doesn't cover $425,000 in private educational loans I funded so your daughter could graduate debt-free while you played HOA queen. The room went dead silent. Neighbors who'd been fined by Karen for years suddenly found their voices. She fined me $300 for my garden gnome, one woman said. And she was taking money from the guy she just called trash? Karen's face twisted into something ugly. This is harassment. The HOA has protocols. Judge Martinez leaned back. The only protocol being violated is basic gratitude, Karen. The vote came fast. Motion to remove Karen as president. Passed 11-2. Her clipboard hit the table with a pathetic little thud. 2 weeks later, Karen tried one last power move. A fresh start reception at the same clubhouse. Smaller, more intimate. 50 guests. Frank wasn't invited, but he showed up anyway with the same banker's box. He sat on the steps outside while guests arrived. When Jessica appeared in her simple dress, she froze. Frank opened the box and started laying documents on the steps like evidence. Since your mother is still trying to fight these contracts through her lawyer, I figured everyone should see the actual numbers. The crowd gathered. Kyle finally spoke up, voice shaking but clear. My dad paid for both our educations. Never asked for credit. My wife, and her mother, humiliated him in front of the entire neighborhood because he drives a truck. Jessica started crying. Karen tried to shut it down with, "This is private family business." But the phones were already out. The video hit TikTok that night, 4.2 million views. Caption, HOA Karen's daughter challenges dad who paid her law school. Backfires instantly. The legal challenge died the next morning. The public apology came 2 days later in the HOA group, Karen's handwriting forced and shaky. The second reception was canceled. 6 months later, Jessica works at Cook County Legal Aid making $82,000. Not the $225,000 big firm dream. The Morrison-Bradley offer vanished the day the video went viral. The Illinois bar opened an inquiry into her judgment. Karen lost her presidency and suddenly found herself paying the restructured loan. $200 a month for 16 years. They moved to a 2-bedroom apartment. The Dream Lake Forest house never happened. Kyle visits Frank every other Sunday. Just him. Jessica much, but he says she's humbled. Working real cases taught her something. Frank's business is booming. Word spread that the electrician who stood up to the HOA queen now has a waiting list. He bought 4 new trucks and hired 5 guys. The retirement account he drained is climbing. Last month, Kyle asked if Frank would lower the payments. Jessica's pregnant. Frank smiled, refilled the coffee. When that baby's born, you'll understand sacrifice. When you really understand it, we'll talk. The payment arrived yesterday. On time. Doesn't give second chances anymore. He gives earned ones. And somewhere in Pinecrest HOA, the new president keeps the bylaws in a drawer. No one's seen Karen's clipboard in months. The lawns are still perfect. Because one quiet dad with an old truck and a phone proved that even the thickest HOA rule book can't hide the truth forever.